stuff and lots of sort of, you know, like music audiences, and I kind of like in my mind I'm picturing like someone like sat in their house going like, oh no, Barbara, no, wait, it's not music, it's fucking poetry. What's on Netflix? That's fine if you're not into poetry, that's fine, but I must admit, I love the challenge. I've been to many like pub gigs and stuff over the years. I've been doing it for 20 years now, poetry, almost. Makes me feel old. And it's incredible to see when you go to like a pub audience and everyone's talking over you. It's like a baptism of fire. And when someone does actually turn around and listen, it just feels so good. And I really love converting people. People often say to me, do you know what? I didn't know I was into poetry, but I didn't know poetry could be like that. So that's the sort of thing. Like it happened a lot more back in the day when it was like spoken word was all new. But that's what I do. I do spoken word poetry. Welcome, everyone. Just giving people time to filter in. Welcome. I'll be checking the comments afterwards. So please do make comments. I won't be able to respond until afterwards because I've got like my setup. It doesn't really allow for it, but that's cool. Okay, so first I just wanted to start with a little plug. This is my book, A Few Words. If you go to 10 Claremont, you can see some of these pages in big in the shop window. Please do go and take pictures, go and share it, that sort of thing. Would be absolutely amazing. There we go. And that was part of Hastings Advent. They put it up in the shop window. So, as I said, I've been doing poetry for about 10, 20 years. I've seen it change over the years, and I've been very much involved and influenced by music. When I was a kid, my dad had a whole wall of records, just like everything you can think of. Indie, like new romantic, rock, old rock and roll, just like blues, jazz, like everything you can imagine. And so I used to spend a lot of my time just listening to his music and it was a really good place to start. And I think that people like Leonard Cohen, people like Tom Waits, people like, the list is endless, like Bob Dylan, all of these musicians to me are poets. And many of them did start out as poets. Like for example, Bob Dylan was influenced by Dylan Thomas and so many there's so many crossovers between music and poetry, so I'm really glad to be on a music platform. Right, so I think we're well in now, so I'm gonna do my first poem. This one's kind of a little bit about having dyslexia. Having dyslexia as a poet is kind of you'd think it would be a setback, but in a way it helps me see words in a way that maybe other people wouldn't. This is called Words. And this is based on something called the dream contradiction. Words. There is no truth in words. True communication is ancient. Movement, tone of voice, intonation. Words can be easily manipulated, misinterpreted, unappreciated. Through words we are trapped in a world of self-recognition, in our own realities, segregated, isolated, separated. Over time we find ourselves entwined with words conflicted and hide behind the lies we live with. Designed, confined, mankind, restricted. I want to seek the universal truth without explaining it, describing it, containing it, defining it. I mistrust, I rebuke, I deny, I respect, I regret, I apply, I accept. Words. Words are the scourge of the earth. Thank you. I'm getting used to this whole like digital performancing now. I've done a few sessions, and at first I was like really put off by no applaud, like no interaction with the audience, but do you know what? I'm kind of getting used to it now. It's not too bad. I know you're all out there, so that helps. So words have always been a bit tricky for me. I find sort of like I get jumbled up a lot with them, but because I get jumbled up with them, it's almost like I see a different pattern, and sort of different patterns emerge, and I enjoy the things that I find difficult as well. This one that I'm about to do is called Catharsis. Let's have a look. Actually, right, this one I'll do Punk Poet. This one I did years and years ago, and it was basically, I went to the forum, because I used to put on events back in the forum in Tunbridge Wells back in the day, and I walked into the forum and there was this guy just swearing and swearing and swearing, and it's cool and everything, but it gave me an idea for a bit of satire, and this is called Punk Poet, and this is sort of like a little bit of me as well, so it's not completely taking the piss. I'm freshly germinated. I'm learner plated, regurgitating circa 80s post-punk poetry, trying to see how many times I can put fuck in a sentence until I'm saying it relentlessly. Fuck you, fuck me, fuck my pretentious simplifications of the world within which I breathe, within which I bleed for a sea of fucked up misjustices of which I see. Fuck this system for persistently fucking me, and fuck this poem for ending abruptly. I dedicate that to Bailey Churchill, who's no longer with us, known in the music scene as Bay Triller. He passed away a few months ago. I miss him a lot. He's a good guy. But yeah, that was one of his favourite poems of mine, so I thought I'd do it for him. There we go. Right, so I was speaking about Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen is amazing. He started out as a poet, but he decided that his poetry wouldn't get out to enough people, so he wanted to put it with music. And that's what he's done, and it's incredible. If you haven't checked out Leonard Cohen, I seriously don't know what you're doing for your life. So that sort of bridges on to something I'm going to do now. And this poem is called, let's have a look, Start Smoking Now. And what I did was, I photocopied pages of this book, of Leonard Cohen, and I cut them all up, and into single words, I put them on a page, and then I filled in the gaps. And that's what this poem is. And it actually got used as an art installation, a sound installation for a friend's music piece, my friend Pascal. This is called Start Smoking Now. And it's kind of freeform. It's sort of stream of consciousness. Companions surrender. Ghost-like flesh. Feeling warmth. Fading ember. Breath. Sculpted movement. Exploring little cardboard minds, it's hard to find a heart as hardened, my bruiseless fingers reaching skyward. Febrile hunger, clawing blind for air. There is nothing. Dust. Metamorphosis. Evolve. Burst free light. Fire kissing with tongues, instinct touching for the first time, limbs interweaving, freedom filling everything. Each sinew stretching, blessing. Sleep satisfies mind. Waiting, listening. Quilt pulled up to my chin. This morning chill is my birthright. Honest, unburned, still. Fingers touching through linen sheet. If this bed could speak, it would say even less than we do. White light binding us, healing us. Awakened fallacy. Paradise pictures depicting people distorted, listless. By your faith here. Do not speak while my thoughts are in sequence. Keep hiding made-up secrets, one mind, a million pieces, heartbroken. Start smoking now. Waves of electric sound. Ears open, eyes down. Do you mind if I make polite conversation? Surface. Where the bodies go to decompose. Toes turn blue first. We were not born in boxes. Blood smeared on cheeks. Bring back food for freezing. Stock up on coal. It's going to be a cold season. It's hard to find real connections. Light your cigarette. Please do interject when something moves you. And that can be the truth. Thank you. So yeah, I wrote that, but the words were cut out of this book. Single words cut out of this book by Leonard Cohen. This guy uses amazing words. So I would say about 50% of the words in that poem were his, but just rearranged. So it's a lot of fun. It's good for when you've got writer's block, which happens to all of us, really. Even if a poet or a writer ever says they never get writer's block, I don't believe them. So I've done smoking, start smoking now. And as I said, that one was in an art installation. I was really happy to hear the sound echoing around the gallery and everything. It's beautiful. Just as I'm sort of on the topic of music, I just wanted to talk about John Cooper Clarke a little bit, because John Cooper Clarke is one of my favourite poets. He's an inspiration to a lot of people in this country. I've got this album, which I think was his first musical endeavour, and it's really cool. If you get a chance, check it out. But yeah, he's influenced like so many musicians as well. I think Alex Turner's a big fan. He's also a very good lyricist. But yeah, I interviewed him once, and he's an absolute legend. There's a kind of vulnerability about him that is palpable. I think that's really important when you're doing poetry, is to have that vulnerability, allow it to come out. Okay, so this is where I get onto the sort of like the nitty-gritty stuff. So I'm going to move on to sort of like topical stuff, I guess. So the first one I'm going to do is Mind the Gap. This section is just about sort of stuff that's sort of going on at the moment, a lot of issues. I've actually, 2 days ago, came off Facebook because it was doing my nut in, because everyone argues all the time and no one listens to each other. And I'm trying to listen more to people. So I thought I'd come off of Facebook and try and speak to people face to face more often, because I find personally that that's best, because otherwise you're just constantly ranting, and no one wants that. So okay, this is called Mind the Gap, and I wrote this quite a few years ago, but it's still topical now. I was reading Fear and Loathing for the first time in years when a train appeared at the station and footsteps filled my ears. As the platform cleared, I noticed a girl distressed, in a mess, cheeks blessed with tears. She removed a scrumpy jack from her black rucksack, artfully arched her neck and threw the contents back. Worry lines were etched upon her pretty face as she was sitting faced. A cliched and predictable depiction of a life defaced and pissed away. It was plain as day to see that she was in pain and in need of a friendly face. I sat patiently on the adjacent seat and waited for a chance to speak. I saw her glance at me. I could have buried my head in my book and looked far away. But I wasn't scared or shook, so I dared to look and bookmark the page. I saw her as vulnerable, someone who needed to be saved. But a picture painted can be portrayed and perceived in many different ways. One person's cage created can be another's purposeful escape. To think this girl needs saving could well be an ignorant mistake. After an awkward pause, I asked if she was okay. She was clearly not, but I could really not think of what to say. She cleared the tears from her cheeks and started to speak. She told a tale of rejection and self-abuse. I could tell that she'd been used and in a world of lies recognised her words as true. She said she'd lost her son. The one person who loved her, and she'd let him down. She said she had nothing now but her own regrets. She asked for a cigarette, but I don't smoke. She said she wanted to forget and could not cope, implying with her eyes that suicide was a last hope. She'd tried many times to take her life and then just choke. You see, people walk by, trying not to meet the girl's eye, as if the world's fine if we delete the scenes we don't like. We judge, but we don't sit and listen. We're all one step away from being in this position. Life isn't black and white, and anyone can be in prison within a life with no light, no fight, and no vision. Whether you're sat on a station bench or in a luxury flat, when the thin veneer of appearance is scratched, it's clear we're all prone to wading neck deep in crap. It's not just about what happens, it's how we deal with our actions and pull our lives back. I looked up and saw the words, "Mind the gap." The timing was apt and reminded me that there are times we find ourselves slipping beneath cracks, getting trapped in a void, avoiding everything, destroying everything until everything's black. I've been there, done that. I've got the marks on my back. My skin's hardened and cracked, but it's steadily healing and the pain's starting to lapse. I tell the girl of myself so she knows I can relate. I describe in my own way the pain that I felt, the rage, guilt and hate that I felt, about being on the receiving end of a hard leather belt. For years my thoughts were enemies, wounds heal but memories leave the heaviest welt. You can't always help every hand that you're dealt, but with one turn of a card can start to remake and repair yourself. As my train came in, the clock said 12. I looked at the girl saying, "Take care of yourself." I knew she probably wouldn't. The word seemed hollow and wooden, but I just couldn't think of anything else. And on the train journey home, I thought of the girl all alone, because I just couldn't think of anything else. Thank you. I always drift away when I do that one because it's based on something that happened and it sort of takes me back to that moment. But thank you for letting me share that one with you because it means a lot to me. We're sort of like this part. I'm very disorganised, just to let you know, and I'm a teacher. I'm disorganised as a teacher as well. So this is kind of part of my act. I'm kind of like all over the place. At the moment, I'm kind of doing topical stuff. So topical, social, political. Then I'm going to move on to a bit of rap. And then I'm going to finish off with a bit of family stuff, personal stuff, and then leave it there. So that's the idea. The next one I'm going to do is called COVID Please. And I did this one with a friend of mine called Sophie Barker. She didn't write any of it, but she did a beautiful dance, something she'd come up with to go with the poem. And if you want to check it out, go to my YouTube channel, which is Lucas Howard. COVID, please. Inflicted with constrictions. Victims of an asset-stripping system. I don't think that this disease could do this to a nation not already on its knees. COVID, please. The mighty 2% could step in any time they want and save thousands of lives by providing an infrastructure that's been stolen from in front of our very eyes, privatised in chunks, sold indiscriminately, and we've been segregated, literally, separated physically, which has an impact to match any turning point in history. 2 meters. Is outside the electromagnetic waves created by the pulse of our hearts. When we spend time close to people for sustained amounts of time, we relax, start to synchronize, and we feel connected. In this state, our anxiety levels are low, our immune system's high, and we feel a strength of unity no words can provide. We need to remember the hearts of the people apart from us, so when we reunite, our hearts beat stronger than ever. And we must try harder than ever to bring about cerebral understandings of togetherness until we stand together. Thank you. And we will be together. All of us will be. And it's going to be awesome. I'm thinking, I don't know when, I don't know, who knows. But when it does happen, when we can all go back outside and we can all hug, it's just going to be so beautiful. And I'm really looking forward to that. As I'm on the topic of sort of topical kind of political kind of poetry, which is what I used to write back in the day, but recently there've been so many political things to write about that I just thought I couldn't, pass the opportunity. So here we go. This is called Garden Centre Buddha, and it is satire. So please don't think I'm an absolute before as well on stage, where I've done something in character as a complete arsehole, and then someone has come up to me afterwards and gone, "Oh, that was really honest of you. No one would have the guts to say that." And it's like, no, that wasn't me. It's satire, it's irony. So this is satire. Garden Centre Buddha. I just want to say that all non-immigrant lives matter. We might stay in our cul-de-sacs, drinking ourselves into a stupor, in our gardens with our barbecues at noon, proving Noel Coward was on the money, but we matter. Noses like cocktail sausages, we bray our drunken ramblings to our long-suffering families about lost identity, lost jobs and lost community. Garden Centre Buddha sits as monument to our cultural indifference. We mourn the family holidays, the ones where we argue between the pictures. What a great time! What a great time! What a great time! Repeated until we actually believe it. Now confined to our shitty little island with people like us we can't stand. Think of us too, not drowning in water, but in ourselves. Now, that one's a little bit cryptic, but I'll sort of explain it. I don't always explain my poems, but I'll explain this one. So I read a Facebook status from someone, and it was when an immigrant had drowned trying to get here, and they were celebrating the fact that the immigrant had drowned. So I wrote this in response to that. And it's very seething. It's satire. It is what it is. So as we're on sort of like the topical political stuff, I'm going to do this one, which is quite risky again. I do quite sort of risky stuff. And this is called I'm a Racist, But. And the idea of it, I've put a little note here to remind myself, what I'm doing is I'm inverting racist rhetoric to challenge the idea of what racism is. So that's it, in a nutshell. I'm a racist, but I'm only just now waking up. I used to think racism was having venom on your tongue and hatred pumping in your chest. Racism can be as much ignorance and inaction as overt bigotry or harassment. I'm a racist, but hold up. Why am I the enemy? I'm not guilty of doing anything. Fuck! I'm so filled up with apathy. A status ain't a strategy. I'm guilty of doing nowhere near enough. Of not acting enough. Of not listening enough. With information at a touch, I've got a lot of work to do. The path ahead is tough. All lives matter when Black Lives Matter. See, if you want to take anti-racist rhetoric and interpret it in a way it's not intended and then choose to take offence to it, you can. But it makes no bloody sense, and it's essentially defensiveness of a middle-aged, intransigent white man. As a member of a poor English family, living in rural Ireland, I face systemic abuse and underlying hatred for something I was too young to understand. When no one sees the worth in you, you get to see the worst in them. I was bullied every single day at school and had no one that I could call a friend. Over time, I changed my accent to avoid being targeted. Sick of being in the margins, I remarketed myself to fit the trend. When I moved schools, I became someone new, but dissonance would grow with each pretense. When I heard Black Lives Matter, a little voice in my head screamed, "Your life matters, your story matters, you matter." But these things were always true and are not even in question. Another person's thirst for equality does in no way invalidate my own. I have friends and family members who don't have the choice of simply changing their accent when they are sick of being victimised. On the 7th of June 2020, I stood in a field with 1,000 other people, and I acknowledged my privilege and confronted my ignorance for the first time. And the truth is, this isn't about me at all, but it is about us. Not wanting the wrongs of our past to shape our future and to fight together as one. I'm a racist. Not in my actions, but my inaction and my silence. I'm a racist, but I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to learn. And I'm ready for change. Thank you. I feel like I want to do some fun stuff now because that was quite heavy. Like the last 4 poems have been really heavy, so let's do something fun. Let's see what I got. Okay, let's lighten the mood. So, this poem is called "Can You Rap Like Stormzy?" I'm a teacher. I've taught in secondary schools for about, 6-7 years, something like that. And when I was telling my students that I rap, one of the first things they often say is, "Can you rap like insert rapper here?" And very often, for a long time, it was Stormzy. So if I said to a student, I can rap, which hopefully you can be the judge of that, but they'd say, "Can you rap like Stormzy?" And I would say, "Yeah, but he can't rap like me." And I think that's a great thing to tell the kids as well. It's like, it's okay, like, to have this sort of like just incredible confidence in yourself, and that's why I love rap, is because it is confidence. It's just pure confidence, and some of it is bravado, but that's great, and it makes you feel good. So this is called "Can You Rap Like Stormzy?" Can you rap like Stormzy? Can you rap like Stormzy, mate? Can you rap like Stormzy? Can you rap like Stormzy, mate? Yeah, I can rap like him, but he can't rap like me. No, he can't rap like me. He can't skip on a beat like me, live with an itch for the beat like me. He weren't born on a gift like this. He weren't born from the streets. Well, he weren't born with a gift like this. He can't skip on a beat. He can't sweep on the beat. Can't on. Sorry. Sorry about that. Let's try another one. Sometimes this happens, it's okay. I just sort of, I've got a lot of poetry to keep in my head. I'm going to do this one. Do you know what? I think the night just wants me to be heavy, because the heavy ones seem to be coming to me. So this is called "Levitate at Night." It's actually not heavy at all, it's very light. Feeling washed up. Waking up to another dark day. Bright nights still playing in my heart, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm not the same upstart to partake in rough parks, playing puff puff pass with classmates. Can't recall the part where the path changed, where the vibrant streets became sparse lanes. Friends disappear, left here, I can't change. Figure in the mist, figuring he missed the last train. It's drizzling, I drift through a vacant space where I'm dry enough to crush up what I take to fade the time. Sometimes it's in tablet form, sometimes it's crystalline, but once that little habit forms, it warps and twists your spine until you're way too misaligned to ever miss a line. Narrative is slipping to where things are undefined. I need to gather thoughts from this ever-spinning mind before I wake up with another splitting head that isn't mine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Fractured, inhuman, nervous, enchained, faithless, impulsive, neurotic, enslaved. Feverishly insecure, nothing is embraced. Frailty, inertia and nausea entwine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Everyone's ascending as the elements ignite. Sentience is bending and it's blending into white. Trendies are pretending and will never see the light. Emanate with energy and penetrate the night. In me is confliction, but I can't give up the fight against the fictionally depicted gimmick imagery of life. I'm generating hype and a never-ending plight as a plea to reach the summit, but no summit isn't right. Fed up with what they're peddling in medals with my sight. I want to try to meditate, to levitate at night. Emanate with light. Celebrate the skies. Elevate, be featherweight, and levitate at night. Thank you. I wrote that one because I have recurring dreams of levitation, and when something really horrible is happening in my dream, I just imagine this power coming out of my hands and it pushes me up into the sky, and then I look down at what was going on, the thing that was scaring me or the thing that was making me feel out of control, and suddenly I don't feel like it has any power over me anymore. And that's, I don't know if it's lucid dreaming or whatever it is, but it always helps me. So that's why I wrote that one, Levitate at Night. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the comparisons between poetry and music. I think, for me, because I don't play any instrument, but if I did play an instrument and I went out on the street to busk, I'd have a guitar and people would they'd look at me and go, yeah, there's a musician. If I go out onto the street as a poet and start doing poetry, people don't quite get the context. So you get a lot of people being quite wary of it. And there was one time when I was in Hastings town centre with a load of friends of mine, and it's so funny because we were all just really friendly, lovely people just doing poetry in the town centre. And this guy walks past with his son, and he's like, Malcolm, whatever you do, do not make eye contact with them. And I was just like, what the hell? It's like, what is this? And it's because people are suspicious of things that they don't understand the context of. So, yeah. But yeah, going out and doing poetry in the town centre is amazing. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I love Hastings because actually, on the whole, Hastings is really accepting of difference. And that's one of the things I really love about Hastings, is it's kind of like everyone accepts everyone else. And I hope it stays that way, because if it does, then I'll stay here. I screwed up Can You Rap Like Stormzy, but that's okay. I think what I'll do now is I'll do Heytown, because this is about Hastings and I've just been talking about Hastings. This is done with love. Again, it's satire, it's funny, hopefully, but it isn't to be taken completely seriously. I'm a wasteling of Hastings, knees up, I'm so sober. G's front on the seafront as I sleep on my sofa. Bohemia Road, man, there's no hope without desire. There's no crow without smoke, then, so come stop with a slow poke. Oh no, so told, top of this dead island shit list. The hardest place in the southeast to ever find a witness. Eyes turn to sea walls, they see all and say nothing. A town full of mimes and blind man's bluffing. Coked up little coastal town where seagulls rule the streets. Trying to eat something, but there's fuck all here to eat. It's tantamount to murder, the gentry will survive. Half man, half burger as they eat themselves alive. Chip shops, bus stops. Bus stops, mug shops. Hordes of Hoxton hipsters hopping the train down for the day. They found a playground of 1,000 lost wallets as pickpockets and chain towns all profit down in Heytown. Weighed down by life, make your way down to Heytown. Prices are nice and stay way down in Heytown. Follow the lure like you're like a greyhound. Now your types live your lives caught way down in Heytown. We got fake shakes and fist pumps. We got Maydays and lip blunts. We got yoga-based day raves with middle-aged rich mums, no pills in their systems, bliss to persistence while dissident miscreants get pissed in the distance. Listen, I'm shunned by high society. All said and done, pissheads are polite to me. So much liquor left on their breath, yes, I believe bonfire societies hire them to fire breathe. Lighter fuel and meth send my kind of insobriety. Blessed with the best cess, I find higher breeds. Cali bag, scallywag black, the swaggest types of weed. Stops me getting aggy and relaxed to be a nicer me. I'm climbing shiny hills on psilocybin pills. My mind is free to slide inside itself and then unwind itself entirely. Nice bit of buff bud to puff on the way down. That's 2 hits on double Dutch, so much love for Heytown. Way down by life, make your way down to Heytown. You can dress how you like, mate, it's okay down in Heytown. It's getting quite late, son, you ain't making the train now. You may have to stay one more day down in Heytown. Thank you. Big up Hastings. Woo woo. I love this place. Okay. The time's gone so quickly. I've got 10 minutes left. So I'm thinking, what should I do in 10 minutes? Let's have a look. I know I probably will do another rap one. What I'll do is I'll do a rap one now. I've got my beatboxer here who is in my bubble, so it's fine for him to be here. Yeah, so he's going to give us a little beat. I don't know if it's going to come on the screen or not, but it's going to give us a little beat. And this rap doesn't really have a name. Oh, actually, it's Holding It Down. Okay. Truth is, in 2 years, I could be toothless and choose grins that ruin my suit when I'm through picking. Billing, spinning, I'm swimming in visions of wisdom from rivers that trickle within. Tipping it in, licking the skin, fingers are flicking, I shake and I twist. Pat that shit down and I pull paper rip, I'm inhaling it full when I'm taking a hit. Now six in my piff, got a nicotine quit. Don't miss them little sticks, one little jot. Weed in my spliff, if it's fun and hot, then at least I still got what I need to exist. In a place full of waste, just taking a piss. Say I'm a pagan and think they are sick. They don't know what the fuck a pagan is. Listen, I am the shame and he's shaming, he's lame and he's vacant and tame. Gravitate to their fame and they all spray the same and all say the same shit. Chains of bitches and the price of a whip, and I'm sizing them up and I'm calling them out. Ain't having these idiots running their mouths. Thunderous youngers are hungering now. Olders have got these ones running about. Summon the courage and struggle it out. Stubborn enough to be suffering now. Toughening up, I've got mud on my brow because I'm running amok and I'm giving a fuck and I'm raising shit up and I'm holding it down. Said I'm holding it down. I'm holding it down. Said I'm holding it down. I'm holding it down like a zoo in the car, mate, I'm holding it down. Beautiful bar, I'm holding it down. Wanna be wrong as I'm holding their dicks. I damn old man is sick because I'm holding it down. 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 I'm holding it down, said I'm holding it down with emotions at stake. Roll with the pain of my boldest mistakes, and I'm cold when I spray like an ocean that breaks. The ferocious waves to me hoping their way. Open the gates or invoking a state. Ghosts of awoken and float and escape. Alone with a soul that exposes the face of a demon, so seething up broken its cage. Hopeless and screaming with sorrow and rage in this place for a reason I follow the stage. Meaningless scenes of a hollow charade to a fire deep within me for older of age. Soaking the coals as they smoulder away. What I wrote is still bleeding and soaked on the page. Child of the night with my toes in a grave, and I'm shining a light and reproach of the day. Hey, you can't craft like that, you got a bars like that. You can't stray from the path like that and make your way back to the heart like that in a trap. It's a fast like that. Anyone can shout half-assed like that. Anyone can mumble like a on the track and act dumb just because it's done like that, mate. You got hard like that, it's okay, I'm off the charts like that. Right now I'm just rhyming on the beat, but now it's time for me to bring the bars right back in my element like Eminem, flaming like a tenement, heaven of a gentleman, benevolent, incredibly intelligent, eloquence is evident, I'm clever when I'm penning them, effortlessly elegant but rose from the ground. I'm so relentless and I'm cold with it now. The weather at a festival, she's blowing around, and I'll be happy with my tenses, I'm relaxing with my friends, and they'll be flapping like a tent, but I'll be holding it down. Woo! Thank you. Shambolic as ever, but beautiful. It's a good vibe right here. Thank you to Chris. Thanks to Chris. Nice one. One of my best friends. This might be a good opportunity to see if I've got Chris's poem here somewhere. If I haven't, then I'll do it another time. Okay. So, I'm just going to end with a few personal ones now. I've got 5 minutes, so I think it should be okay. I might run over slightly. It was difficult for me to write about anything that was personal for a long time, because there's a lot of stuff in my past that I didn't really want to come to terms with or face. And also I kind of felt like when I wrote about things that meant something to me, it didn't quite hit home. And it wasn't until I'd been writing for a long time and sort of got brave that I decided to write something maybe that was a little bit more meaningful, a little bit more meaningful to my life. This is called How to Fight. And this is for my mum, Kim, who's an amazing person. How to fight. My mother taught me how to fight without raising my fist. My mother taught me strength in love. My mother told me this: if someone tries to hurt you, hold them in your arms and give them all the love you can until your anger calms. Failing that, kick them in the balls and run. But no matter what they've done, and no matter who they are, never take their shit or harbour hatred in your heart. My mother taught me how to fight without raising my fists. My mother taught me strength in love and just how powerful love is. Thank you. So now I've done one about my mum, I should probably do one about my dad, just to sort of even it out so one doesn't get jealous of the other. And it's my dad's birthday today. He's 58 today, so please send love out to my dad, because he's a hard-working man, and he's looked after me and my family my whole life, so he deserves it. Right, this is called Pastime. I'll let you see if you can guess what hobby he has. Pastime. Imagination simmering. Fascination for the little things. Lots of boxes, trinkets in every different size. Muddy plots, soul sinking in. Coins yet to be glistening. Carefully you're listening, a twinkle in your eyes. With every sweep a wishful glee, for every beep a mystery, a little piece of history, no matter what the find. A counter topped with silver rings, bearings, thimbles, heads of kings. There is a place for everything, nothing left behind. I have a fascination too. Of words I am enraptured through, passages that capture truth in assonance and rhyme. In process we will ever be, both hunting for our treasure we, delighted in our revelry, a simply passing time. Thank you. So I'm going to finish now on 3 very short poems. And these are very personal poems, but it's I find a strength in vulnerability, and it's, as a man, you don't really... I've done a lot of stuff about manhood, none of which I've done today, but you're very often told that you can't show your emotions, and even by people who think they're forward thinking, they still carry the past with them, and all of these sort of things that sort of just stick to us. So I think it's a real privilege that I've got a way of expressing myself through poetry, and music is exactly the same. It's so emotional, and it's incredible. I'm really lucky to have worked with a lot of really, really talented musicians. This is called Cluedo. My whole life, I thought that I was a bad person, that these thoughts of humiliation were my own. But they were put there. Somewhere between conception and forming identity, I was poisoned. Who put the poison there, I don't know. But I've been living with it ever since. And now my mind is like a fucked up game of Cluedo, and I may never get to see the final cards. So this is the flip side of that. This is called change. Abuse doesn't always have a face. There's no unmasked villain at the end. Only the role of the abuser and the victim. This word, victim, stays with us like residue, infecting everything we touch. I don't want to place blame. I want to face pain and make change. And that leads us on to Real Boy. And this is to everyone out there. And the idea of this poem is that we all have problems, and it's something, you know, not all our problems are the same, but we all have them. And this is called Real Boy. You call me Pinocchio, and we laugh because we both know the story. I lit a fire. I made the whales sneeze, but somehow got snagged on a tooth. They say a boy needs to roll in the ashes before he can be a man. I'm still finding soot in pleats and embers in breast pockets. Sometimes when I speak to people, I get nervous. Nervous of judgment, of feeling inadequate. But then I notice a trail of dust behind them, and I know I'm not alone. Thank you. Thanks, guys. It's like so strange performing to silence, but I know that, or I hope at least some of you are enjoying what you're seeing right now. I'm enjoying myself very much. It's very warm in here, but I'm enjoying it. That's all of my poetry for now. Please check out my book. It's through Whiskey and Beards Press. Unfortunately, all of the hardbacks have sold out now. But we will be having a softback run sometime this year. So please look on my Instagram page, Lucas the Peaceful Poet, and I will post up when the softback comes out. You can go and find my work on, I think it's number 10 Claremont in America Grounds, and there are pages from this book large on the window. So go check that out. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Audiotrope and everyone who helped make this happen. Really, really incredible. And thank you to all of the musicians that have been playing over the last few months. I've really enjoyed it. Nice one. That's me.